wouldn't it be nice to have several thought leaders in your industry know and love your brand? Start a podcast. Invite your industry's thought leaders to be guests on your show and start reaping the benefits of having a network full of industry influencers. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with Shari Johnston. She is the SVP of Marketing at Radius. Shari, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, James.
I'm really excited to chat with you today, Shari. We're going to be talking about sales and marketing alignment with ABM. And this is obviously something I'm very, very passionate about. We hosted the Aligned event earlier this year. And so I could talk about alignment all day, I think. So really excited to get into this conversation. But before we do, Shari, I'd love for you to tell our listeners just a little bit about Radius and what you and your team are up to over there.
Sure. So at Radius, we help marketers and sales leaders plug in and tap in their marketing automation systems and CRMs into what we call the Radius Network of Record, which is the world's largest B2B data and intelligence set so that they can really help reach their prospects across every channel. Really connects intelligence as well as omni-channel integrations with the largest, most accurate B2B data set to really help amplify your go-to-market strategies.
I love it. So Shari, as we were talking offline, just kind of starting this conversation, around why alignment is so important, why it's top of mind with so many marketers. And you had some stats around why everybody is paying such close attention to alignment today.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's top of mind for all of us as we start the new year. What can we really do better? How can we really make sure our next year is a success? And, alignment is not just about really making sure you have a better year socially with your sales or marketing counterparts, but really is one of the single biggest things you can do to impact your business. We spend 30 to 40% of our revenue on marketing and sales. So aligning these sides can really help you grow. In fact, Serious Decisions has some survey results that organizations with better alignment have 24% faster growth and 27% faster profit over a 3-year period. So it really can impact the bottom line by ensuring that your teams are aligned.
Oh, that's I hadn't heard that before, so that's incredible. So as we kind of get deeper into here, Shari, talking more about what does alignment really look like? You'd mentioned, really making sure that both teams are aligned on goals and that they have kind of a single source of truth. Can you elaborate on that a bit for us?
Yeah, if success isn't the same for both marketing and sales, I've seen this repeatedly. It can get messy. So if marketing success looks like volume of leads and they hit their target, yet your sales team is missing theirs, it's never great to have teams not aligned on what success looks like for an organization and can really cause that alignment to crumble and also impact results. So setting up on a single source of truth of success across the organization for not only pipeline generation, but how the two teams collaborate, and a dashboard of where you're not getting metrics from multiple touch points, but really having a single source of where you look at for how your business is being run is incredibly important. That can solve a lot of the alignment issues, so just making sure that organizations understand, and both sides of sales and marketing understand what they're contributing to the organization.
Another thing you mentioned offline, Shari, was having aligned KPIs. How do you go about doing this and explain this in a little bit more depth?
Yeah, I think we all need that carrot to really make sure that we're delivering on what can help the organization. Sales is lots of times a little bit more straightforward. It's always bringing in and closing business. But marketing can often be a bit more fuzzy, and it depends for the organization on what's their capabilities from a tracking standpoint. But also just really making sure that it will bring the organization success. And one example here is that historically a lot of marketing organizations have been gold, and their KPIs are around lead volume or MQL volume, which doesn't always convert to success for the sales organization. It doesn't have much to do with the quality of the leads. So much of which, in our case, I've moved my team to pipeline generation so that it helps not only with us delivering the volume of dollars that will contribute to sales closing deals, but also adds a quality element. It's not going to get all the way into stage 2 or stage 3 pipeline without it being a reasonably qualified lead. So, really making sure that is success. Those two things are aligned, because and often in organizations can be a mismatch. Also, as what is a hot topic is ABM, and ensuring that you're really aligned on not only the KPIs around pipeline volume, but are you bringing in the right accounts for your sales team, and really being aligned around what that looks like.
And so, is that primarily, Shari, obviously it all starts kind of with leadership. So did that look like you and the VP of sales sitting down and just coming to an agreement on, okay, what should marketing's KPIs look like? How can we get, these to be more on the same page? And then from there, I guess, how did that then trickle down into, both sides of, the marketing organization and the sales organization? I guess, what were some of the things that you and your counterpart did to make that alignment happen?
Sure. Yeah. Having done this transformation at 3 different organizations, the first time around, it was led by the marketing team. And, I have a huge sense of passion for being closer to revenue as a marketer. And I think, gone are the days of, we made some real huge initial efforts with the introduction of marketing automation and lead to close models, but it still wasn't good enough. We were still delivering a lot of stuff to sales that was not producing revenue. So, when ABM was introduced, it really got me excited of, stopping wasting my marketing dollars and resources on leads that weren't going to convert. So, that started out with me sort of leading an ABM strategy of like, okay, well, these are the only accounts sales really cares about. The rest of the leads, they put in our re-nurture program to die. So, why don't we focus our marketing and sales efforts on those particular accounts that we know are going to be potential customers for us? And I think that really spoke to and helped make sure that me and my then marketing or my sales leader, Gabe Rogel, were on the same page. And then for there, I think it's super important to make sure your ops teams are also bought in, understand the strategy, because it also can have quite a bit of implications on your operations, how things are tracked, how things are reported, and buy-in from those teams as well.
So did that look like, once you had that target list of accounts that you knew sales was going after, did that just mean kind of designing specific creative that would, that was attractive to those specific accounts, running ads specifically to people in those organizations? What on a little bit more granular level, what did it look like for you guys then to say, okay, we're going to, our marketing team is going to start focusing on these target accounts?
Yeah, I think once you get a nailed down list of accounts, which sounds like an easy task, but a different topic can be a little bit of a little work for. Yeah, exactly. But I think it is really important, because your ABM strategy is never going to be successful if you're focused on the wrong accounts to begin with. But, once you get there, the way we go about it is really looking at, okay, what does our typical buyer's journey look like? How do we get in front of them? How do we awareness, engagement, and conversion tactics to get them all the way through the buyer's journey? And what we do then is create all of our tactics based off of that ABM list. So, for example, for awareness tactics, what are the awareness tactics that are going to get in front of those accounts the most? So we'll typically do things like digital ad campaigns that allow us to target just to the accounts and contacts that we want to. They're a little bit more expensive as a impression, but then we know they're not wasted. Our dollars are not wasted on contractors and people who are never going to be customers for us.
Yeah.
And then further down the funnel with events, my event team completely creates their strategy of what events we decide to invest in and what ones we don't, based off of the overlap with the target account list and the event itself. Therefore, we know that we're getting our reps in front of those accounts that they really want to get in front of. And then further, even down the funnel, we'll focus on custom content that can really help make sure that it addresses the specific vertical that our accounts are in, some of the pain points that are common across our account list to really help personalize the experience as much as possible.
So we've talked about kind of aligned goals and having a single source of truth. We talked about aligned KPIs. You just talked about being aligned on the buyer's journey itself and making sure that you're both on the same page of awareness, engagement, conversion. It's so important to be on the same page, just knowing those things. The last one I want to talk about is being aligned around the ICP, the ideal customer profile. This seems like, it would be a no-brainer that, of course, marketing knows, who they're going after and sales, has the same picture in their mind. But talk to us about, you've obviously done this in 3 different organizations. Where are people missing on the alignment around the ICP?
Yeah, I would say at even the most sophisticated organizations, this can often be, I would ask the question between your marketing leader and your sales leader and see if they do align. Take the sales, what sometimes is called the named account list, to the marketing ICP that's used for different marketing vendors, and there's just often a misalignment between the two, and really doing the homework around. I think that the misalignment can happen on both sides. It's difficult sometimes for marketers to really get after those key accounts, and they don't want to limit. There's a fear of missing out on the marketing side that can happen, and then oftentimes on the sales side, we'll dig into the account list, and for inexperienced reps, their dialogue can go something like this, well, I know a guy over at that organization, therefore they're on my target account list. And often that's, that doesn't mean that organization will be a good prospect for your solution. So really making sure that there's some, what I call art and science to the ICP. So, hearing from the street, from sales of, where they're finding success, what deals are applying to businesses, but also looking at the data, looking at your historical customer success, what customers are renewing, and what industries and company sizes and types of personas are involved in those sales cycles to help create some actual data-driven results to identifying your ICP.
I love it. Shari, since you've done this, a number of times, I'm sure you've got, lots of people asking you, for advice as they're leading, transformations in their own organization. Is there a particular question or maybe a common mistake that you see people falling into over and over again as it relates to, the alignment issue when it comes to ABM?
Yeah, I think aligning on the KPIs across the organization is difficult. I think attribution is always a source of contention, and there's just a lot of questions around, and understandably so, migrating from traditional lead to close model KPIs to ABM KPIs or very aligned KPIs can be scary. In our case in marketing, we're giving up a lot of control over what we have influence over. For instance, we really do have influence over producing MQLs. We don't have as much influence over whether or not they get to stage 4 pipeline or not. That sort of gets put into the hands, not entirely, but primarily in sales hands. So we have to give up a little of that control and have some trust with our sales counterparts. And I think that oftentimes can be scary and is probably the biggest challenge I've seen in organizations in my days.
Shari, I love closing out our interviews with this question. It allows our listeners to get to know our guests on a different level. What would you say is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Sure. Yeah. I'm really passionate about helping women have a louder and more equal voice in technology leadership. I see this, again, similar to marketing and sales alignment, that it's not really, the downside is not just about being fair and having women represented as they should be. But not only that, but I also do believe tech organizations would be better off from a results perspective. A lot of the downsides we're seeing in tech organizations are weaknesses that are typically representative qualities of heavily male-dominated teams. And, having been a woman leader at a few organizations now, I'd love to see help provide that voice. I'm actually doing a 21 days of Twitter shout outs to some amazing women who have influenced my careers, or also some amazing women I've had the luxury of being able to mentor over the years, and are going to be the next generation of executives for sure. So, I'd love to leave behind a legacy of hopefully influencing that initiative in a positive way.
Fantastic. Shari, if somebody listening to this, they want to stay connected with you, or they want to learn more about Radius, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Sure. For me personally, I'm at Shari on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn at Shari Johnston. And then from a Radius perspective, you can visit us at radius.com. There's all kinds of ways to reach out to us directly or learn more information there.
Shari, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much, James.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you or someone you know would be an incredible guest for the B2B Growth Show, email me at jonathan@sweetfishmedia.com and let us know. We love connecting with B2B executives, and we love sharing their wisdom and perspective with our audience.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.